Greetings friends, welcome back to We Eat So Good. In today's video, I'm going to show you a quick slideshow of the construction of our garden, and then Courtney and I are going to take you on a quick tour of the garden so we can see what's growing. The way the yard is set up at this house, the only spot we could really do the garden was in the front yard here, but there were these 4 large trees that had to be taken down before we could do anything. So then the next step was to dig all of our holes for our fence posts. Having a big fence is really important because here in central Virginia, the deer are crazy. They will destroy your whole garden in one night. And this was a ton of work. We called it our labor camp. Every weekend where it wasn't raining, we were out there working on it, digging holes, cutting wood, putting up the wire for it, staining it. So it took a long time, but it was totally worth it. We're so proud of it. And I'm glad we built it nice and big. It just leaves tons of possibilities for growing whatever we want. But this was only just building the fence here. Once the fence was built, then we had to go back in, put in some garden beds, and start planting things to be ready for the season. As you can see, it gets great light there. And now Courtney's gonna take over and show you guys what we have growing in the garden right now.
All right, welcome to our garden tour, everyone. We just thought we would bring you around our garden and show you what's growing. This right here is going to be my perennial garden, and I have a couple of annuals in here. I have a ton of different basil because we love pesto, and if you're into it, we have a pesto video that you can check out that we did last year. Right here, I'm probably going to sow some more cilantro. I bet you I can get another whole crop done for the year right there.
So you had cilantro there, but it kind of just went by, right?
Yeah, we ate it all.
And this is dill next to it?
Yep. And then I got some chamomile here going, and I'm trying to just let it establish itself this year, and then I'll probably try and protect it over the winter. This right here is a potato box that we built. So I think we got some potatoes that'll be coming soon. We came across some sort of weird potato liking bug this year, but I think it's bouncing back pretty good. And we've already covered it once, so hopefully we'll get a lot of potatoes there.
And we dug up one that didn't look like it was doing too well, and there was a lot of potatoes in there, so that was pretty cool. And Stanley likes to inspect all the beds there, so.
Yes, he is our garden gremlin. You do require one per garden. Thankfully, we have a backup.
Yeah, we got a backup. Where's he? He's over there somewhere, looking for bugs.
So here we have more potatoes. I've got a hummingbird feeder there because you got to have one. And then over in this bed here, this is where we quickly got some radishes in the spring, so those have come and gone. And we're using this for our secret tomatoes. I'll tell you about those in a little bit. And we got some leeks, and I have edamame growing in the back.
We got the leeks here that are just kind of starting to take off a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then the edamame, that was new for us. We kind of saw it at one of the home centers, and we're just like, let's try it, right?
Yeah, mine as well.
So it's doing really good. Look at all that. I never grew that before, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And not to get too judgmental, but a lot of the edamame comes from China, and I figure, why can't I grow my own?
What's in there?
In here was just some Johnny jump-ups that kind of never really took off. I don't know why they didn't take off. Usually they're very prolific. So in this bed, this is where we had all of our beans for the springtime, and now we have our bush tomatoes, and I have more basil.
I think they were peas.
Oh yeah, peas, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we have more basil because we can't get enough basil. And so now we have a bunch of bush tomatoes, and then we have some of our stragglers that we cut off and are like runners, and we're kind of cloning them.
Yeah, we got another section over here where we're working on that too. So any big suckers we pull off, or some of them were in the compost.
That's the secret tomatoes I was talking about.
Yeah, the secret tomatoes. So the compost didn't get hot enough this season to break down all the seeds. So some tomatoes were popping up all over the place. So we kind of just replanted them here, and actually they're doing pretty good. So yeah. I'm excited to see what comes out of these.
And this was our big onion bed. As you can see, we've already gotten most of our onions out. We do have some last couple of stragglers here, so hopefully those will be the big boys. All right, so over here was my squash experiment. So I'd never grown squash before, and I didn't know about a thing called a squash beetle. That decimated them. So the sunflowers took, the marigolds took, and we decided to go with cucumbers.
So over here, as you see, you'll see these throughout the garden. There's different sunflowers of different heights kind of all throughout, which is pretty cool. Courtney planted those, and they're doing really, really great.
I would say those are 8 feet?
Yeah, 8 feet, different varieties, growing about a foot a day, which is really cool. And we have these marigolds too. You'll see marigolds all over the place. That's to try to keep some of the bugs away, but in general, they just look really cool. So they kind of flower all year round. And if we can get some benefits of keeping some kind of bugs out of the garden, then that's helpful too. Morty's doing his part too, hunting the bugs. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
Mimi. All right, so over here, this is where we started some greens in the springtime, and surprisingly enough, we still have kale, which is crazy for us because that's not how our growing season was when we lived in Oregon. So we're still making smoothies like every day just about.
And these are cucumbers here?
Yep, so these are cucumbers. They're an English style, so they're kind of long and thin there. And so I was able to get my first cucumber the other day, and I made a tabbouleh, so that video may or may not come this season, but that's a pretty good salad if you're into some cucumbers and tomatoes. All right, so this is another experiment. I mean, the whole thing is an experiment, but
Right.
I've never grown parsnips before. I absolutely love parsnips. It says fall to me. I love them. So this variety did not do well. This one did okay, and this variety is the one I will be buying again.
Carrots here, this is a carrot bed that
Yep.
we made. So with the parsnip bed and the carrot bed, what we did was add a lot of sand to the soil because we have really clay heavy soil here to try to make sure there's enough looseness, I guess, so they can
Yeah.
put down deep roots and you can get big carrots and parsnips. And this one, as you can see, is doing very well.
This is also 3 different varieties, and I would do any one of the 3 again, if not all 3. This week I plan on doing some carrots in my breakfast hash, so I might as well just pick one and see.
Yeah, pull one out and see what it looks like.
Oh man, this could be embarrassing. All right, here we go. Wah, wah.
Try another
All
one.
right, let's try the middle here.
Different varieties might have different times too, so we'll see.
That's true. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh, this seems to be way more established.
Okay, let's see.
All right, this is gonna be the one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's a cool color.
That's neat.
Ignore this one, please. All right, let's try the third variety. Now, this one is not as tall, but I don't know if that's just because of the variety, or maybe it's not ready.
Yeah, it could just be too early for these carrots.
Oh, it's long and thin.
Yeah, so it looks like they're growing well, obviously, but it might just need a little bit more time.
Yeah, so I don't know. Should I pull more for my hash, or should I move on to something else for hash this week?
I don't know. Try pulling a couple more. Look, like I would uncover. Let me try one here. Yeah, might not be ready yet.
Yeah, I don't think they're ready yet. Well, I'll still use them.
Okay, let me just get a little shot of those. Very cool.
And you can see, like, that was obviously the rainbow one. This might be either an underdeveloped orange or a white one.
And we can check back in later in the season and see how the carrots are doing.
Yeah. Now, this big monstrosity right here, I don't know if you can kind of see it. So we have tomatoes here, and then I built this trellis thing so that they could vine up. We didn't really know what to expect with our tomatoes this year. We did everything from seed, and we got the seeds from one of my coworkers. In fact, you'll see a lot of the sweet 100s right there. Those apparently were spit onto a napkin by her mother-in-law, and we took the challenge.
Did she really spit it on a napkin, or did it just look like that?
It looked like that, so that's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, so this has a little trellis here for the tomatoes, and we're kind of clipping them up as we go. Let me try to get a little bit closer in here so you can see. So we're putting these little plastic clips on as they grow up to the trellis here, which is actually working out really, really well. We're getting some great tomatoes. We got the first ones off of here just yesterday. Made a great video with some sauce. We had them in a salad today. They're delicious.
Yeah, they are.
Couple different varieties here. These are either Big Boy or Better Boy. We're not really sure. They were just labeled BB by her mother-in-law. So whatever they are, they're excellent. And then over here, there's like a Roma variety. So you can see those are doing really well too. So.
And they really seem to like to have these marigolds because they've both kind of benefited off each other. And Neil likes them too.
Yeah, Neil's a big fan of the marigolds. And then on this one, we got
all sweet 100s.
Sweet 100s. These are cherry tomatoes, and we're trellising these up too. So these are growing up nice and tall.
Yeah.
And we're clipping them on as we go, and they're looking really good.
And then if you come around to the other side, this is where we started all of our peppers. So we have, this is like our crowning achievement right here. Look at that.
Yeah, nice bell pepper. These were peppers all from seed,
Yeah.
and they took a while. We
Yeah.
put them in when it got nice and warm, you know, 70s, 80s during the day, and they seemed to stall out for a long time, but then
Ooh, this developed like overnight from all that rain. Look at that.
once the temperature climbed up, they really started taking off. That one's a pepperoncini, right?
No, that's a Hungarian.
Hungarian.
The pepperoncinis are going to be over there.
So that one's gonna be a Hungarian hot pepper. Then look at the jalapenos.
Yeah,
Those are doing great.
They're happy. Yeah, so we have a bunch of different peppers over here, and we do have more peppers too, because why not? All right, so as you can see, this is kind of where the labor has kind of stalled. We need to get more chips in, so that's the pretty section. So now let's kind of get into our more aggro section.
Okay, more sunflowers here.
So this again was going to be a squash box, but those darn squash beetles ate all the squashes. So I have sunflowers and marigolds there, which is great. It's bringing in the pollinators. And then over here was another trellis system. It's interesting, I made this one second and we didn't really know which tomatoes were gonna be viney, and apparently this one should have gone over there and those should have gone over here, but who knew?
We've gotten a lot of these. These are like sun gold
Yeah.
tomatoes, so you can see there's a lot more coming too.
Yeah.
And these have grown super tall, so we just kind of improvised. I screwed some sticks up there
look
and
at what Phil did here.
clipped the sticks to them. I was just sick of buying sticks, so I was like, I get sticks in the yard. So those work pretty good, and they're climbing all the way up.
And then we had extra pepper plants, and what we've learned is I'm not good at thinning, so I put the peppers over here, and yet again more basil.
Those peppers are looking great though, as they love the heat, because look at the flowers. You can see them, they're about to pop on all of these. So
Yeah, so then we have one more bed back here. All right, so in this bed, I did sunflowers in the back, and those are like my crowning achievement. Look at these things. They're amazing.
it's huge.
I did 3 different varieties in here. And then it's kind of hard to see, but we kind of made a U shape here with some extra cedar planks we found. And so this is going to be our strawberry bed. So this is our first year. We got a lot of strawberries, but next year will be our good year.
Yep.
And then we have our grapes over in the back, right back here. So this year we're just kind of really letting the taproot establish itself, and then next year we'll be building a pretty big grape arbor trellis system that we have yet to think about.
What's Stan up to?
Oh, Stanley. All right, so this bed is my experimental bed. I mean, the whole thing's been an experiment this year because it's been such a rush job, but I wanted to see, can I grow beans from store-bought dried beans? And yes, you can. So every single one germinated, 100% germination. I have flowers and I have beans on all of them, so I'm just gonna let these all dry. As you can see, the rats with hooves have stolen what they can, so that's lovely for me.
Rats with hooves are deer, just in case you didn't know.
They're not my favorite. Okay, so then I have more basil, and then these are the last of their kind. These are the only squash that I was able to save from those squash bugs, and I don't know that I've saved them, so maybe a future episode we'll talk about what survived and what didn't survive. So then in this box here, I think I have never really done watermelons before, so I started them, and it was this guy that I started, and it was looking sad, and I was like, it's not gonna make it. So then I got this set of watermelon and realized watermelon likes the heat, so now they're all taking off.
You got a couple melons here.
Yeah. And you know what? Even if I don't get any fruit, there's so many flowers. It's just bringing all the pollinators in, so I'm excited for that.
Yep, and you got your little kind of trellis here, which is nice. We might end up putting like some kind of chicken wire behind it or something, but right now it's working good to just give it space to spread out.
Yeah, and once again, I have more basil.
If you're wondering why we have so much basil, first of all, we love basil. Second of all, at first it looked like it was struggling.
Yeah.
So we put it out and it was getting kind of like wilty and it looked like it might just be having a hard time. So we kind of cloned it and planted it and kept planting it, and some were strong, some were weak, but then as it heated up, they really all just took off, which isn't a bad thing. We have so much basil now, it's great.
We have so much basil and we have so much pesto. I've probably already made a quart of basil and it is July. So I hope to have 2 quarts. That is the goal. 2 quarts of pesto in my freezer by winter.
Okay, now let's go into the food foresty area back here.
Okay.
So starting with your prize fig tree over here.
If you've ever wondered those little figs in a bag that you can get at Walmart, this is what you can get. So this literally started as a bare little stem.
Yeah, so in the garden centers at like Walmart and stuff, or in like Target, they'll have these little white bags that have figs and raspberries and strawberries and stuff. And when you open them up, it's a lot of wet dirt and like a little stick with a root. And we've had some success with those kind of plants before, so we figured we would try the fig, and it is alive. So it did technically work, but it is it's slow going.
Yeah.
What do you think, Stan? Okay.
He's not into figs. And then over here we have our peach. And so our goal with all of our fruits this year was to focus on the roots. So we've already taken off a lot of the fruit. So we've left some on there to see how it's actually going to turn out. And we've had so much rain that it's splitting. So we'll probably remove more of these.
I actually have to remove a lot because it's getting weighed down quite a bit. I've tied it up. Even just like a week and a half ago, I tied it up. It looked good, but as the fruit gets bigger, it's weighing it down. So probably right after we end up filming, I'm going to cut some of that off and kind of get it back up so it's not all bent over and looks like it might break, and we don't want that. And you can see all this cardboard down here. That's kind of how we've been going. So over here, it looks all nice and clean with the wood chips and everything. So we put cardboard down. Courtney would put the cardboard down. I'd come with a truckload of wood chips and put them down. So it's kind of bit by bit we've been doing it. So we're more than 2/3 of the way through, and we just kind of have to keep it going on this side. But for now, it's helping keep the weeds down, which is nice.
Definitely.
And it provides a nice little warm spot for Mortimer there to check out all his bugs and everything. So good job, Morty.
And then as you can see, this is another experiment I have here, which I didn't know was going to work, but it seems to be. This right here is store-bought ginger. So I sprouted it in the house and threw it in a pot, and I hope to get some ginger flowers out of that.
Yeah,
so that should be good.
That's exciting. That's cool. And over here we have our blueberry bushes. This was, now the funny thing was when we built this garden, we finished the exterior structure right around middle of March. So in Virginia, that's kind of time to start planting some stuff.
Good time.
Yeah, so a lot of this was kind of very fast. It was like, it's time of year to put stuff in. We wanted some berries. We put in a couple blueberry bushes just to see how they would do, and actually they did really good.
Yeah.
So we got 2 varieties here, got a couple berries off those, and then you can see there's 2 other different varieties in the back, the bigger ones. Mm-hmm. And then over here we have a couple of bay plants. I'm gonna kind of step around here.
Yeah, so bay leaves are your friend in soup. So we had a really well-established bay tree when we lived in Oregon, and I hope to replicate that ×2.
Yep, so they're doing great. Again, another one that loves the heat.
Yep. This is a little bit of catnip, don't tell the boys.
They don't seem to really be that into it.
Oh, really?
Well, maybe.
Let's see. Morty. Oh, what's that?
Okay, I was wrong. So now on to this front bed here.
Yep, so this front bed here, this was kind of a catch-all. So here's another strange thing. In Oregon, every green would have bolted by June, I would say. Mm-hmm. And so here we still have lettuces. We have greens.
Yeah, we have greens.
We have greens here. More basil. So, you know, we keep on saying basil, and so we do sweet basil, we do Thai basil, we do Greek basil, there's cinnamon basil over there, and then there's lemon basil as well. And then in most of the beds where I show you the extra basil, that's all sweet basil because that makes a really good base for the pesto. But here we go. So I had mentioned secret tomatoes, and apparently our compost didn't get hot enough. So we were able to germinate tomatoes from whatever meals we made.
Yeah, probably just from the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm actually not surprised it didn't get hot enough. It was pretty small because we started the compost pile in like October in preparation for the garden. But when you don't have a garden already, you're putting in, you know, grass clippings and kitchen scraps. But this year we'll have plenty because all this stuff, when it dies off, will go into the compost.
Correct.
But yeah, it was kind of a small pile, so yeah, some tomato seeds definitely snuck through, but it shows you how easy it is to grow some tomatoes from seed, because they just popped up, and there's another one hanging out. So
yeah, so this will probably go in that bed where I said all the secret tomatoes are going, and then we have another secret tomato over there. So this is our Swiss chard. We went with some rainbow, we went with some green, and so this is great to cook up with onions, garlic, you know, whatever, and Phil puts them in his smoothies too. And then this was just like a salad mix, and I just literally sprinkled it on there because I was exhausted that day, and it's still going. We just had a salad this afternoon, that's why it looks pretty sad.
And then you got the runner beans growing up the top of the trellis there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, all that's doing really good. It's so fun to come out here every day and just see what's different and what's ready to be picked. Like today, for example, we had some chicken left over, and we grabbed up some fresh tomatoes from here, some basil, all the greens, and made it just an awesome salad. So it's just, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
It is. It's so nice to have like fresh stuff available to you, and I would say the most used bed is probably my herb bed. We use that every single time we're meal prepping, and we love meal prepping, so you know we're using that all the time.
Yep, Stan loves it too.
Yeah, we have to call this the catio, not the garden.
What are you trying to tell us, Stan?
He's saying this video is done.
Okay, well, that's it. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for following us on our little tour here. We'll do a check-in in maybe a week or two and let you know what's going on, give you an update. And if Stan wants to participate, he can too.